Follow your passion is not inspiring advice. In fact, it's some of the most dangerous advice that we give to people today because it sounds kind, it sounds human, and it sounds safe. But it quietly fucks over the people who actually listen to it. Not everybody, but those who do take it seriously. Before we go any further, I think we need to stop and ask a really important but basic question. What the fuck does passion even mean? Because everybody throws that word around like it's obvious, but no one ever actually defines it. When people say, follow your passion, they're usually pointing at one of three things: enjoyment, meaning, or that feeling that you get when you're absorbed in something and you lose track of time. That's it. And here's the problem. All three of those are outputs. You don't get to decide what you enjoy. You don't get to force meaning. And you don't get that flow state on command. Those things show up only after certain conditions are met. Which means that the advice, follow your passion, is literally telling people to chase effects as if they were causes. That's the same thing as telling someone to chase confidence or to chase calm or self-respect. You can't. You have to build the conditions first. So here's the rule that actually governs reality. Nobody gets paid for how much they care. They get paid for outcomes, they get paid for results, and they get paid for things that are scarce and valuable. You can love something with your entire soul. Reality does not give a shit. And this is not pessimism, it's literally just how markets work. And here's why this advice feels true at the beginning. Passion gives you energy early on. When you're passionate about something, you will work longer hours. You'll tolerate uncertainty, and you'll tell yourself that it doesn't even feel like work. So it looks like progress, but energy is not progress. And eventually, real life will show up. Rent, bills, stress, and time. And passion does not pay invoices. Let me describe a situation, and if it feels uncomfortable, that's the point. You like something creative. Design, writing, video, marketing, fitness, something like that. And people told you that you were good at it. So you leaned into it, you studied it, and you tried to make it your thing. At first it feels right, and so you tell yourself that you're lucky, that you found your thing. A few years go by, you're working, you're busy, and you're tired. But you're still roughly on the same money. You're still trading hours for output, and you still feel pressure every month when the rent is due. Nothing blows up, but nothing really improves either. You didn't fail, you stalled. And that's the most dangerous outcome of all. Here's what that stall actually looks like when you zoom in. In the first year, you're excited, you're posting every day, and you're proud of what you're doing. Year 2, you're still grinding away, and now you're chasing clients and you're responding to messages at nighttime. Year 3, you're doing revisions at midnight for people who don't respect you. Year 4, you're still only making just enough to survive and you're telling yourself that you're building. And year 5, you finally realize that your life hasn't actually moved since you started, and now you're tired. That is how years disappear quietly. And you know why this advice sounds true? Because you only ever hear it from the winners. The people that it didn't work for are not making videos about it. They're back in a job, embarrassed and pretending that it never happened. That's survivorship bias. And it's part of the reason why this advice keeps getting passed down like wisdom. And this is usually where the freedom fantasy kicks in. You don't want a boss, you want to have some flexibility, and ultimately you want to work for yourself. So you go online, and immediately you notice something. There is always somebody cheaper. You're not competing locally anymore. You're competing globally. People with a different cost of living, different expectations, the same fucking job. And on top of that, the platform takes a cut, buyers expect revisions, and half your time now disappears into selling instead of actually doing the work. That's not freedom. That is a race to the bottom with admin layered on top. And it's not because you're bad, it's because the work that you chose is abundant. Here's the part that people keep missing. Passion does not make work valuable. Scarcity does. If a lot of people like something and they want to do it, prices get pushed down. That's why passion-heavy fields are brutal by default. Not because they're evil, simply because supply overwhelms demand. So you hear this shit like, do it for exposure, this will be good for your portfolio, or you're lucky to be doing what you love. And people accept it because this isn't work after all. This is their dream, and this is where the real damage happens. When your income depends on self-expression, fear enters everything. You can't negotiate cleanly, you can't easily walk away, and you can't detach. Because failure doesn't just mean less money, it feels personal. So people tolerate bad terms, they stay longer than they should, and they tell themselves this is just part of the journey. That's not weakness, that's the trap that this advice sets. And here's the part that a lot of people really don't like to hear. Most people who really enjoy their work long term did not start out passionate. You cannot enjoy something that you're bad at for very long. You can only tolerate it. Real enjoyment shows up after competence. When you're incompetent, work feels like stress, confusion, and self-doubt. There's no passion there, there's anxiety. The same thing applies financially. If you're stressed about money, or if your income is fragile, and every decision feels high stakes, you don't experience passion. You experience fear, and fear kills enjoyment. What actually happens for people who love what they do tends to go like this. They get good at something first, they become hard to replace, they remove financial pressure, and then the work starts to feel meaningful. Not because the work changed, but because the conditions changed. Passion is not a cause, it's a consequence. It shows up when you're competent, when you're not financially fragile, when you have autonomy, and when you can say no. Until then, passion is just emotional attachment. And emotional attachment without leverage is a liability. And here's the final cruelty. When this advice fails, nobody blames the advice. They blame you. You didn't want it badly enough. You gave up too soon. You weren't committed. So people internalize it and they double down. They lose more time. All because the map was wrong from the very start. Passion is not a starting point. It is a reward. You don't build a life on feelings. You build it on competence, leverage, and demand. And passion becomes safe after that. If the average outcome is stress and stagnation, that's not good advice. It's a trap with a nice slogan.